As women and entrepreneurs, we navigate a complex landscape filled with systemic barriers, societal expectations, and personal responsibilities. In this environment, decision making can become particularly challenging. We often find ourselves at crossroads, grappling with tough choices such as pricing strategies, expanding our networks, following up on new ideas, or investing in personal growth. These decisions can feel overwhelming and even paralyzing at times. Most women entrepreneurs that I know, including myself, encounter common roadblocks in their decision making journey. They may struggle with self doubt, fear of failure, or the pressure to conform to expectations. The weight of systemic oppression can further cloud their judgment and limit their ability to exert their leadership effectively. Today, we'll dive into a powerful tool that I created to address unique challenges that women entrepreneurs face when making crucial decisions, the Empowerment Matrix. I'm Tatiana St. Louis, integrative business coach, inbound marketing expert, and feminist content creator, and I help women entrepreneurs step out of their shadows to step into their self-defined authority. Throughout this video, we will explore the Empowerment Matrix and its 4 zones: expansive comfort, expansive discomfort, oppressive comfort, and oppressive discomfort. By understanding these zones, we can gain insights into how our decisions align with our values, challenge oppressive systems, and foster personal and professional growth. Together, we will learn how to leverage this tool to make decisions that are truly empowering, transformative, and aligned with our ambitions. To follow along this video and get more guidance around this work, you can download the accompanying workbook in the link mentioned in the description below. Let's dive in first by talking about the relationship between comfort and growth. We live in a culture that glorifies hustle and the grind, almost treating it as a spiritual experience of superhuman productivity. Success is often portrayed as the logical consequence of the sheer amount of work, sacrifice, and discomfort that we endure. In such a system, rest and self-care are seen as unwanted weaknesses, while financial growth and profitability reign supreme. Adding to this is the discomfort that women already normalize for themselves in a patriarchal world. As a consequence, it's no surprise that many of us end up burnt out, disinterested, and disappointed by businesses that we have built upon oppressive foundations. This is why our beliefs around comfort and growth, or how I'll call it here, expansiveness, can contribute to the anxiety stored in our brains and bodies. Unconsciously, the anxiety leads us into a trauma response like state where we react by decreasing our risk tolerance, increasing our hypervigilance, resulting in self-doubt and perfectionism, and a greater willingness to outsource our authority and decision making. In our constant pursuit of actions that force us into uncomfortable positions, like being more visible online, raising prices, or setting boundaries, we find ourselves in oppressive situations. For instance, selling in ways that conflict with our ethics, over delivering to prove our worth, or pursuing revenue goals grounded in scarcity mindset. The cycle perpetuates a sense of never being enough, pushing us beyond our natural boundaries and nurturing extractive practices that leave us tired and taken advantage of. So the question arises, how can we reclaim our power and foster a more supportive environment for growth in our businesses? How can we as humans and business owners move away from the pushy and inhumane principles of hustle culture and embrace discomfort or comfort as an expansive, respectful, and consensual experience? And how can this awareness help us make more empowered decisions and bolder moves that are in alignment with both our well-being and growth? I designed the Empowerment Matrix as a practical tool to help entrepreneurs like you navigate decision making while addressing challenges women face when assuming leadership roles, such as the one you have when you become the CEO of your own business. The goal is always to assist you in making conscious and aligned choices that respect your own authority while catering to your ambitions, no matter how humble or grand they may be. You've probably seen a grid like this before. One of the most popular examples is the Eisenhower matrix, a productivity tool to visually organize tasks based on 2 factors, urgency and importance. The objective is to make informed decisions about which activities to prioritize, delegate, schedule, or eliminate altogether. In the empowerment matrix, we use a similar model of decision making, but we swap the two axes, urgency and importance, by expansiveness and comfort. This creates four quadrants, namely expansive comfort, expansive discomfort, oppressive comfort, and oppressive discomfort. Paired with a series of journaling questions, thought work, and embodiment practices that you'll find in your workbook, this tool can become a powerful aid in making aligned and wholesome decisions in all kinds of situations. By using the matrix, you'll be invited to gain clarity, challenge your own oppressive thought patterns, and embrace growth opportunities in ways that feel empowered, ultimately leading you to define what success really means to you on a practical level. Before we dive deeper into work, let's just have a look at the theoretical framework behind this tool, starting by the choice of expansiveness and comfort as the main axis of observation. As we've said in the introduction, discomfort has been used as a collateral for growth and success in a superficial and sometimes harmful way. Let's take an example. Let's say you decide to take on a challenging project or client, which would create a certain level of discomfort for you. On the one hand, the incentive to embrace discomfort is a useful thought in the sense that it can push you to see this opportunity as a way to learn new skills, expand your capabilities, and build confidence in handling complex situations. This is all positive, we can agree. However, depending on how you define challenging client, it can also mean that you might be pushed to overstep your own boundaries and capacity, leading you to overwhelm, compromise well-being, and even burnout. In that sense, following discomfort is not necessarily conducive to growth and expansion, but rather to a re-traumatizing experience that will leave you depleted and triggered. However, following comfort at all costs is not necessarily better. Here's another example in relation to pricing. Let's say you're not into this follow the discomfort business and rather decide to base your actions based on what feels good to you in the moment in an intuitive and body-based manner. You might then decide to land on a certain price point for your services that feels just right because it doesn't initiate triggering thoughts or bad feelings. However, this non-triggering price point could also be potentially hiding deep-rooted beliefs on your own unworthiness, glass ceilings, and other negative experiences about money or rejection. It's all part of your psyche and it's there. In that sense, following comfort is not necessarily leading you to growth either, since you're unconsciously accepting the status quo to protect yourself from negative thoughts or feelings. Constantly operating in the realms of oppressive discomfort can foster agitation in the nervous system that propel you into a reactive decision making and traumatic response, whereas oppressive comfort can solidify deep-rooted systems of oppression that have been internalized and keep you playing small and lowering your own power and impact. This is why the theoretical framework underlining this framework lies into feminist principles, intersectionality, and systems thinking. It recognizes the impact of systemic oppression on women to exert their leadership and emphasizes the importance of challenging oppressive norms and how we view our own experience as business owners and successful women. In that sense, this matrix can be valuable as a self-coaching tool to help you explore the interplay between comfort, discomfort, expansiveness, and oppression within your decision-making process. The framework acknowledges that decisions made within oppressive systems may provide comfort in the short term, but limit long-term growth and authenticity. By introducing the concept of expansiveness and discomfort, the matrix encourages us to step out of our comfort zones, confront internalized biases, and make choices aligned with our values and goals in ways that are intentional. Intentional is a key word here, since discomfort is not always the most potent option. Expansive comfort can also be a positive growth outcome. Being able to visually or at least conceptually position a decision on the grid helps the brain build awareness regarding that decision. It puts light on the forces at play while we choose an action set. The focus on comfort also introduces the physicality of our experience as an integral window on internal unconscious dynamics that are unfolding while we are problem solving. This newly integrated focus can help us work around the over-rationalization and potentially gaslighting of our experience as women and entrepreneurs. Let's now take a look at how to use the matrix. First things first, let's define our axis and how to assess our position on each of them. The horizontal axis is the comfort-discomfort axis. On one hand, we have discomfort. It refers to situations or choices that evoke feelings of unease, fear, resistance, or uncertainty. It can create a sense of instability or of stretching oneself. On the other end of the axis, we have comfort. This refers to situations or choices that provide a sense of familiarity, security, and ease. Comfort can stem from staying within one's established routines, habits, and areas of expertise. So, how do we assess it? As with everything on this matrix, assessing one's position on an axis is highly subjective and personal. It involves self reflection and introspection to gain insight into how we think or feel with regards to a certain decision or action set. When it comes to comfort, we're playing with the realms of feeling because even if feelings are created by thoughts, they pass through the body. The somatic experience has therefore a lot of information to give us if only we take time to be present with it. For example, when faced with a decision that challenges our comfort zone, like, say, raising our prices, we may experience sensations such as a racing heart, sweaty palms, butterflies in the stomach, or a knot in the throat. These physical manifestations are signals from our bodies indicating our emotional response to a situation. Similarly, when we make a decision that aligns with our values and bring a sense of comfort, we may experience feelings of calmness, relaxation, or a warm sensation in our bodies. The comfort-discomfort axis is therefore tightly linked to the body experience of an imagined action. Embodiment practices such as yoga, meditation, or breath work are a few tools and techniques that can help you assess your position on this axis. To see an example of steps to evaluate your position on the comfort-discomfort axis, open your workbook. Now that we've identified how comfortable or uncomfortable this imagined action is, let's talk about the vertical axis, expansiveness and oppression. At the top of the axis, you have expansiveness. It refers to a state of openness, inclusivity, abundance, willingness to explore and embrace new ideas. It can also refer to choices or situations that promote growth, empowerment, and alignment with one's values and aspirations. Expansiveness encourages us to think beyond existing boundaries, challenge the status quo, and create positive change in our lives and businesses. On the other hand, we have oppression, which refers to choices or situations that reinforce systemic barriers, power imbalances, or limitations. It can involve conforming to society's expectations, compromising authenticity, or perpetuating oppressive norms. The expansiveness oppression axis recognizes the impact of systemic oppression on decision making and encourages us to assess to a degree how our choices align to our own values and collective empowerment. It also prompts us to consider potential consequences of our decisions in terms of perpetuating or challenging oppressive systems. So, how do we assess it? Assessing your position on the expansiveness axis involves evaluating your level of alignment with your values. Where comfort involves embodiment and somatic awareness, expansiveness involves introspection, critical thinking, and considering the broader impact of our actions in the realm of the social, of the collective. This is where thought work becomes a useful tool as it provides framework to engage in curious and non-judgmental inquiry where our beliefs in ourselves. Our aim here is to get as close as possible to the beliefs that support a certain set of decisions or actions. Let's say we're still working with the idea of raising one's prices and we've already established that this action makes us quite uncomfortable. First, we might want to get curious as to why we want to make this decision. Why do we want to raise our prices? Is it because we're underpaid and need to make more money? Okay, let's dig deeper. Why do we think we're underpaid? Why do we need to make more money? Because most coaches make a higher yearly salary and go on vacations all the time, and boy do I need a vacation. Yeah? I need to make more money to upgrade my lifestyle, my living expenses, and be able to take time off and relax. So interesting. Now we're uncovering the beliefs between money and rest. Let's simplify it and come with an action tied to a belief. I want to raise my prices because I will then allow myself to rest. Now, everybody has their own definition of oppression and expansion. So the person can decide whether this is expansive or oppressive with regards to their own set of values and worldviews. In your workbook, I share some questions to reflect on this axis as you determine for yourself whether something is expansive or oppressive to you. You will find a series of journaling prompts to guide you in the self-reflection in order to help you move through this. Now, by going through this process, you will gain a tremendous degree of awareness that can open up some self-coaching opportunities. By identifying how uncomfortable or oppressive you perceive certain actions or decisions to be, you might want to engage in coaching yourself or take this to your coach to see how you can move the dot on the grid to another area of the matrix, either by finding ways to move from oppression to expansion or from discomfort to comfort. At this point, you can use whatever coaching methodology you like, any modality that works well for you, to initiate change in your internal state, if that's what you want. Because it's important to underline that you might also decide intentionally to act in a certain way, despite the understanding that you could be perpetuating oppressive beliefs. You might not have the emotional or energetic capacity right now to increase your level of discomfort or to challenge your thoughts, and that's okay. The goal here is to create intentionality and coherence within yourself as you navigate your entrepreneurial journey. Which leads me to an important reminder that the empowerment matrix is an awareness tool. Do not fall prey to perfectionist tendencies, overanalyzing and losing sleep on whether something is oppressive or not, or if the discomfort you feel is legitimate or not. Utilize this tool and technique to gain self-awareness, explore your internal states, and determine the level of discomfort that feels appropriate and empowers your professional and personal growth. As women entrepreneurs, the empowerment matrix holds potential to shape our journey towards success and growth. By integrating the psyche and the soma, this thought experiment becomes a powerful self-leadership tool in leading us to find our internal compass and aligning it with our entrepreneurial endeavors. By placing emphasis on the possibility of moving from discomfort to comfort and from oppression to expansion, it also reminds us of a significant truth. The burdens of systemic oppression can weigh heavily on our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. The pressures we face as women in a patriarchal world are both overt and subtle and can impact our confidence, self-worth, and decision-making. Recognizing this becomes crucial to proactively prioritize self-care and self-compassion. Nurturing ourselves allows us to replenish our energy, maintain resilience, and navigate uncomfortable decisions with a clearer mindset. It enables us to assert our authority and make bolder moves in alignment with our well-being and growth. The empowerment matrix not only empowers us individually, but also encourages us to disengage from the prevailing culture of hustle and grind. In a world that often prioritizes productivity and profit above all else, it's essential to reclaim our power and redefine success on our own terms. Embracing this transformative approach can pave the way to a more balanced, inclusive, and compassionate way of doing business.